Today, I wanted to share a little bit about my first ever pitch appointment. So this was from last year at the ACFW conference, the first time I ever pitched to an agent, and it was just such a neat experience. So if you're excited about writing and want to learn more writing tips and hear more about writers' conferences and my journey as an author, please make sure to click the subscribe button and follow along. And until then, let's dive into my first ever pitch appointment. So at the ACFW conference, they don't give you your appointments ahead of time. They do all the scheduling that week, right before the conference, and then you get it in your booklet right when you arrive. So it's kind of nerve-wracking because you just have to have everything for the agents you selected. You get 2 pitch appointments and you have 4 options. So you give them 4 and then we go from there. So it's just kind of nerve-wracking because you have to bring all the different content that they might want and then have it stored away in your backpack until you get there and you figure out who you actually have. So as I'd hoped, I got an editor and an agent that year, and my first pitch appointment was on the Friday. So that was 2 days actually into the conference. So my first appointment was earlier on in the morning. That morning they had actually done a zone breakfast. So people that were near you in your region all sat together, which was actually really cool because the lady who sat right next to me was agented by the woman that I was going to be pitching to. So it was really neat to just chat with her, and it just felt like such a God moment because what are the chances that she happened to sit next to me? So after breakfast at 9:30 was the next session, and I ended up skipping it just because I was pretty sure that my appointment was at 10 a.m. and I just wanted to have a bit of time to just pray and to journal and just to get mentally prepared for pitching to her because yes, it is not going to make or break your career, but it is also very nerve-wracking, especially if it's your first time and there is a bit riding on it. So I just wanted to make sure that I was completely prepared and that I wasn't going in nervous or freaking out or that I was rushed and I had no idea where I was. So I ended up walking down about 15 minutes earlier and went down to the bathroom, which is a really beautiful place with all sorts of different coves and fancy nooks, and I just sat down and I prayed and I texted my family and asked them to pray with me. And so after that, I looked at my schedule just to double check the time, and turns out I had the time wrong. So it was not at 10 a.m., it was at 10:15. So I ended up having more time than I actually needed. So I walked out to where they had a couple of seats for the people that were going to be pitching next, and I just took a seat and I sat down and I just organized myself and reoriented myself and just was like, it's okay. A couple people were chatting, most people were pretty nervous, and I just sat down and I grabbed my folder out and I just made sure that everything was in the right order and was good to go. I had brought along one sheets, I had brought along first chapters, synopsises, outlines. I had a lot of stuff prepared. I had not memorized a pitch though. I mean, I know what my story is about because I wrote it, but at the same time, I kind of wish I wrote a pitch out because I was rather nervous about what I was going to say, but it was also walking by faith because I had no idea what I was going to say, and it ended up working very well. Around 10:07, I just was sitting there and I was just getting more nervous because when you're just sitting there waiting, the adrenaline just kicks in, your heart's pounding, and it's just, there's a lot riding on it and you get kind of nervous. I guess I might have looked nervous because a sweet lady with strawberry blonde hair walked up to me and just started chatting with me a little, and I shared with her that I was a bit nervous, and she was just so sweet, and finally she was just like, can I just give you a hug? And so I stood up and she gave me a big huge bear hug, and then she just started praying over me, and it was just so kind that this woman I had never met, that was a complete stranger, just gave me a huge bear hug and just prayed over me, and I will remember that moment forever. So after that, the lady in charge of it called us all in, and we went to the different rooms. Each room had a couple different tables in different corners with the different agents or editors, and I sat next down to the agent that I was going to pitch to, and she was just so sweet, and we chatted about my books. I just slid my one sheet over the table so she could see it, and I had 2 one sheets because I was pitching the one book that I actually finished writing in the French Revolution, and then the other book that I've been taking through critique groups and actually doing a ton of editing on, which was during that point in time, I think I had just finished drafting it. So I just asked her which one she wanted to talk about, and so we chatted about both, and by the end of the time, she asked me for a book proposal, which I had no idea what that was, but I just freaked out because she actually liked it and she was excited about it, and I was just thrilled. And you know what? After that, I went out and I texted my friend and we had a whole moment and I shared it with my family. It was just so exciting. And the next session that I was going to go to looked cool, but it wasn't quite there. And so I was like, well, what else could I do? I have no idea what a book proposal is. And turns out the next session that was going to be happening was about deperplexing book proposals. And I was like, wow, that couldn't have come at a better time. If my pitch appointment had happened after that, I would not have gone because I had no idea what a book proposal was or why I needed one. but that it happened right after I got a request for a book proposal was just perfect timing. So I went to that session, took a ton of notes, and came out actually knowing what a book proposal was. And so it was just such a neat experience to be able to pitch for the first time and learn what it was about and make mistakes, but also just feel so at peace about it, and just it was just such an amazing experience, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm really looking forward to pitching again this year at ACFW and seeing what comes of it. So if you want to hear more about my conference experience for the first time, make sure to check out that video. And if you want to hear more about writing conferences, make sure to check out my video about what a writing conference is and why you need one. It's super helpful, and I really hope that it will help you. Without further ado, please make sure to like and subscribe this video. If you have anything to add or you want to continue a discussion, make sure to write that in the comments below, and I will make sure to dialogue with you there. I can't wait to see you next week.